Hi, my name is Ed Sweeney with 3Gen Ministries. Do you ever feel like you're busy all day long, sending emails, returning phone calls, running from one meeting to the next, only to get to the end of the day and feel like you've accomplished nothing? I know that feeling all too well. Healthy time management is a struggle for most of us these days. We all want to live balanced, productive lives, but the culture we live in often mistakes busyness for true productivity. Things that really don't matter, ultimately, often seem urgent in the moment. And when we focus on what's urgent, it's easy to lose sight of what's really important. I'd like to share an illustration with you today that I think you might find helpful. Let's say this big jar right here represents your life. It's empty now and it's ready to be filled, but there's limited space and a seemingly unlimited amount of things to fill it with. Where do we start? Let's take this next jar that's filled with water. The water represents our desires and passions. We all have a deep desire for contentment, satisfaction, for meaning and purpose in life. This is often our primary goal, so we chase after it, seeking fulfillment and gratification first. This next jar is filled with sand. The easiest way to continue spending time and filling our lives is with things that we enjoy doing in the moment. Things like watching Netflix or social media, Facebook, playing video games, or even some of our favorite hobbies. These may not be inherently bad things to spend our time doing, but ultimately at the end of the day, they are non-productive and unimportant. Essentially, the sand represents things that are time wasters, things that will bear no lasting fruit in our lives. This next jar is filled with gravel. The gravel represents the responsibilities we have in our life, things that we just can't say no to. They're simply going to happen whether we like it or not. Things like mowing the grass, taking out the trash, going to work or school every day, and paying the bills. These are responsibilities that we can't control and we can't ignore. We have no choice but to spend a certain amount of time in our schedules every day taking care of these responsibilities. At this point in the illustration, it's clear that we've begun to really fill our lives, our calendars, up with a lot of things. Some that's necessary, some of it that's not. But the truth is, up to this point, everything we've really filled our lives with is peripheral, things that ultimately don't matter. It appears that things that seem urgent have crowded out what's really important. We've neglected to take the time to focus on a few really important things that are necessary for a healthy, balanced life. Let's call these things the big rocks. Things like spiritual health and fitness, physical health, wellness. If you're married, your marriage, your spouse is a big rock. Parenting, your children, another big rock. Community, friendships, the people around you. Finally, stewardship, giving things away for the good of others. Well, obviously this strategy didn't work. When we fill our lives with busy, meaningless activity first, clearly there's not enough room left, not enough space in our calendars for all the things that really matter. Let's rearrange the order and see what might happen if we put the really important things in first. We have a new empty jar, represents a new life or a new calendar that we can fill. Let's begin with the big rocks first. Spiritual health and fitness. Spending regular time alone with God, receiving life from Him and from His Word. This is where we quietly and humbly learn to walk with God in a real relationship based on faith and trust. Physical health and fitness. Eating well and exercising regularly. It may be working out or taking a run. It may just be taking a walk a few times a week. Also resting well. Creating rhythms of rest and work on a regular basis helps us to avoid the inevitable stress and chaos that follows us everywhere in life. This is a very important big rock that's got to be intentionally scheduled into your calendars. The next big rock is your marriage. If you're married, this is the most important relationship on earth. Date night, got to put it on your calendar. Schedule a weekend away every now and then. Even a quick trip to Walmart together. Whatever it takes just to spend regular, intentional time just being together. Everyone else will come and go in life. But your spouse, Lord willing, stay in forever. The next big rock is parenting. Your kids desire quantity time with you a whole lot more than they do quality time. Sure, it's fine to schedule amazing trips or do really cool things every now and then, but don't miss the opportunity that presents itself every day to sit down, look your children in the eye, and listen to their stories about their day. Get into their world, ask them how they're doing. Your kids may be young now, but they'll be gone soon. The next big rock is community. This represents the people that God's placed around you in your life for this season. It's your circle of close friends, your local church family, even your extended family. Wherever 2 people or 2,000 people are gathered together as the body of Christ, God is present with them and working in those relationships for your health and your wellness. Take time, put time in your schedule to invest strategically in these critical relationships. This final big rock represents stewardship. God has given us lots of resources. In fact, everything we have is a gift from Him. Our material wealth, our time, our gifts and our talents, all to be used for His kingdom and His glory. A good steward knows where these gifts come from and takes these blessings and invests them for the good of others, not just themselves. Jesus, in fact, said, "He who would give his life away will actually find it." Well, check it out. We started with a brand new calendar, and when we decided to put the big rocks in first, we had plenty of time and plenty of space for all the things that are most important, the things that are truly foundational for a healthy, balanced, well-managed life. Once we put the big rocks in first, the really cool thing is that there's lots of space left over for other things. Remember the jar of gravel? This jar represents all the responsibilities in life, things we can't ignore, can't control, and we absolutely can't say no to. But guess what? We got plenty of space in our life for these things. In fact, because the big rocks are in first, we're actually probably going to have a better attitude about doing the things that we just have to do. And now for the sand. Remember the sand? These time wasters that were unimportant and virtually non-productive? You've still got a lot of margin. You got a lot of space left in your life. We can have a little fun. Binge watch a little Dukes of Hazzard on Netflix. Maybe spend a Saturday afternoon, watch a couple of football games. Take a hike. Go fishing, sit in a deer stand for a couple hours. Whatever you enjoy doing, whether it's hobbies or just wasting time to relax, you've got some space left after putting the big rocks in first, even for the fun stuff. When we put the big rocks in first, we had plenty of time and space for all of those. There was time and space left over for all of our responsibilities, the things we just can't say no to, that we have to do. There was even margin left over for fun. Things that we enjoy doing in our free time, we had plenty of time for that as well. But here's where the real blessing comes in. Remember, the water represents our deepest desires and passions, our desire for contentment, fulfillment, for meaning and purpose in life. When we rearrange our priorities and put the big rocks in first, everything falls into place. And God's natural blessing for a life that's well balanced and managed like that is that contentment, satisfaction, fulfillment, joy comes as a result. As we pour the water in, everything just begins to fit together. It all comes together in a healthy and balanced way. So here's the point. We're all given a limited amount of time in our lives. We all have 24 hours in a day. We all have 7 days in a week. The question is not how much time do you have. The question is how will you decide to fill it? What will you put intentionally into your calendar? Here's what I want to challenge you with. When you're planning out your day, or your week, or your month, or even your year, I want to challenge you to put the big rocks in first. When we focus on what's most important, create time and space, block it off on your calendar for those things, I believe God honors that and creates space and time for everything else to fall into place after that.